Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of 45 for Life. I'm glad you're all here. Thank you for joining. Before we proceed with meeting our special guest for the day, let us first discuss why we decided to do this show. My best friend's dad always had a famous question. When we go visit him or meet him at his place or at work, he wouldn't say, "How are you doing?" or "How's everything?" He would say, "Are you happy?" So sometimes this question would just sound funny or weird. And when you're 10 years old, you're 12, you're 15, saying yes to that question was pretty easy and simple. Then with time, saying yes to that question became a little bit more complicated. There would be pauses, some uncertainties. Answers will then become, "Yes, I think so," or "Sure, maybe, I don't know." Sometimes we would just say yes, and then we start the whole self-talk. Am I really happy? What am I happy about anyways? Is it school, work, love life, friends, new car? Then you start questioning, what is happiness anyway? Am I happy enough? Am I not happy? Who's happier than me and why? The more you grow, the more complicated the answer becomes. Now, I'm not saying this is correct, but it's a fact. Ask yourself right now, am I happy? And be 100% sure of your answer. If yes, what are you happy about? And if not, what's stopping you from being happy? At Inspeed Global, as quality consultants, trainers, and certifiers, we decided to give something different on the topic of quality. Indeed, at work, production, and management, quality assurance is needed. You need good people to make good products in a good working atmosphere without doing harm to the environment nor to one another. That's a good quality system. However, the deeper meaning of quality goes beyond ISO standards and international recognition. It is the human being himself. The quality of your health, brain, and soul is what matters the most. This is why we decided to start this show and call it 45 for Life. We will be dedicating 45 minutes just to know the quality of life and work through reflecting on other people's experiences. 45 for Life is everyone's platform to self-reflect from a realistic, hands-on points of view. We're done with theories. We hear a lot of theories. We read a lot of books. We hear a lot of different success stories. But I am personally sick of reading theories of happiness and historic success stories of overnight self-made millionaires, only to realize that the most chapters of these stories were hidden, while other chapters were edited for SEO friendliness. Let us be real here. Money is not the caliber, nor is it that big fat title next to your name on LinkedIn, unless that's all that makes you happy. This is not a soap opera show, nor is it a therapeutic session. We're just here to self-reflect through discussing the quality of life for us, the working people. In this fast-moving work-life train that we get on as soon as we snooze our morning alarms, up until the minute we make sure the same alarms are ready for the next day, we must constantly ask ourselves, are we happy? And we must be very sure of our answers. We are exploring together the healthy balance of personal and corporate success. So hop in if you want to listen, share, or reflect on the real qualities of life. Our first guest today is all about leaving comfort zones, putting up with challenges, and having the correct mindset alongside the journey. I'm very delighted to welcome Ms. Thuraya Taleb, live from Dubai, to tell us more about her experience. Hi,
Hello,
Thuraya.
everyone. Hi.
How are you?
Good. Thank you for hosting me here today.
Thank you for giving us the honor of being with us in the first episode. It's happy to have you. It's good to see you again, actually. It's been a while. Can you please introduce yourself to everyone?
My name is Thuraya Taleb. I'm from Lebanon, but I was born and raised in Saudi. And I usually introduce myself as the crazy, loud Lebanese woman who just packed her bags and moved to China with a one-way ticket.
Yeah, tell us about that.
That's a very, very quick one-liner about me.
All right. So why China? What crossed your mind? What just why did you make this decision? How did you end up in the Chinese airport and say, this is China. Let's see what China's got for me.
Okay. So basically, at the time, I was living in Jordan for a while. I was working, studying there, and then I finished my master's degree, and I was still working there in Jordan. And one day I woke up, I was getting ready to go to work, and I literally heard a very clear voice in my head telling me, Thuraya, go to China. Something big is waiting for you there.
Oh,
So
okay.
at the beginning, I was like, am I getting crazy now? Because I never thought of it. I never thought of going to China. So the same day, I called the Chinese Language Institute in Amman and the Confucius Institute. And I was like, hey guys, do you have any Chinese courses starting soon? And they were like, yes, we have today. If you want to join, you can join. We have space for you. And I was like, interesting. So I spent the whole day looking up on Google, like about life in China, about work in China, about whether I can go live there or not, because I've never heard of anyone going to China at the time. And I just noticed that, you know what, I need to learn Mandarin before I go anywhere. So the same day, I went to the Chinese school, I signed up for Chinese language classes, and I started learning Chinese.
Nice.
A few months later, they came to us and they were like, we have a summer camp to China. You want to come with us? I was like, of course, I will come with you. It was a
Nice.
2-week trip anyway.
Nice.
And I just signed up, got my visa, booked my ticket, went with them. It's the actual language institute with our teachers, with the dean of the institute and everyone. It was like an exchange program. We went to a university there for 10 days. We had extra classes. We had cultural orientation. And then we went to Beijing for 4 days of tourism.
Nice.
And at the time, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm just going to go to China. So I went back to Jordan, and at the time I was just applying for jobs, applying for scholarships, trying to do all kinds of regular approach to travel somewhere or to move somewhere. And nothing was working for some reason or the other. And I tried to stay longer and I tried to fix all my paperwork. Nothing was working. And suddenly, summer 2017, I just woke up one day, looked up, actually, I asked someone about the university there, looked up their website, and I was like, you know what? I'm just signing up for language classes in China, and I'm just taking a visa, student visa, and I'm just going there.
Just like that.
I woke up that morning, literally, I started doing my paperwork. I applied, I got accepted. A few days later, I got my paperwork, my acceptance form, visa form, whatever. And I called my parents in Saudi and I was like, hey, I'm moving to China in 2 weeks.
Nice.
And of course, they went ballistic.
Definitely. Of course.
Yeah. And I just shut down. At the time, I had my company in Jordan.
Okay.
And I just shut down my company, sold my car, packed my bags, went to Saudi, got my visa from there, said goodbye to my parents. I just booked a one-way ticket.
Okay. So that's the pre-story, that's the pre-preparation, and that's somehow a sweet story. But again, some people just, wake up one day and start sharing a video, then they start saying, you know what, I had nothing in my pockets and I woke up the next day, I had this idea, and 20 days later I became a millionaire. We don't want that. We want a normal story where you actually went to China and it was tough. Definitely, it was
And
tough
I had
at
only
one point.
$3,000 with me.
Oh wow, in China, yeah. Now people moving to Turkey with $5,000 is not enough. So imagine China all the way there alone. So what's the other chapters of the story? The thing that people don't usually share, things could reflect on, saying, you know what, even a success story has had bad chapters in it. I wasn't able. Were you able to focus there, being alone? Were you able to relax?
Oh,
How did that go?
at the beginning, it was horrible. I mean, the place I was living in was gorgeous. I moved to the most beautiful city in China, which is called Hangzhou. I don't know if anyone has heard of it. It's basically where Alibaba is based. So you can imagine the tech advancement. You can imagine all the technologies there. You can imagine everything, including it's a touristic city, historical touristic city. So it's full of nature, history, culture, good food, because everyone's going to ask me about the food in China. Really good food. And I'm a foodie myself and a food and beverage consultant. So you can tell, like, I have this aspect about food is the most important thing for me. And at the same time, it's a beautiful place, but the first period were insane, especially because I decided to leave suddenly. I had no job at the time there in China. I'm used to working. I'm an independent woman since 2005. And I used to have my job, my money, my income. And suddenly I went there, no job, no money. I
No
was supposed to stay
family?
at the
No
door
family?
of the
You're alone?
university. No, yeah, I didn't have anyone
Friends?
there. I did know a person on WeChat. We talked a couple of times. I asked him about the city, but he's not really a friend. Anyway, at the beginning, I was supposed to go to the dorm of the university. I thought I can book a single room, and then they told me, no, you don't book a single room. You can just take it when you come here. I was like, fine, okay, no problem. And then I went there, and they were like, no, it's 3 people per room. And I was at the time 32, and there were 2 girls who were like 19 or 18, and I was like, nope, not happening. So I started dragging my bags and moving around, walking.
Wow, in China.
And I started asking people for apartments
Wow.
for rent. Yeah, the first period was horrible, and especially that I kind of went, I'm not going to say against my family's will, but my parents were not convinced with the concept.
Definitely.
They're like, for them, like, why are you going to China? Why don't you go to Canada or America? It's like, even though it's further, but for them it's more something they're aware of, they know of. But I was like, literally, mom, like, we're still in the same continent.
Yeah.
Literally in the same continent. America
Closer,
and Canada
good.
is a little bit
It's
further.
probably closer, yeah.
Yeah. So anyhow, I could not even call my parents and ask them for money because they would be like, haha, we told you, come back now.
Mm.
So I had this big challenge to do it myself. And of course, at the beginning, I got to meet amazing people in the journey that supported me. Either they introduced me to landlords to get apartments. At the time, my Chinese was mama hoho. I was not fluent. I'm
No.
still not fluent, but
Okay.
at the time it was still weaker. So as someone who's fluent in Chinese helped me get an apartment at the beginning. I figured it out. Of course, it was not in a very nice area. It was super far from downtown. It had to take me an hour and a half to get to anywhere in the downtown using buses. Oh, and before that, I never used public buses. I never
Wow.
used metros. I hadn't rode a bicycle since I was 10. And I had to ride a bicycle in China in the street with, like, there's actual lanes for bikes and like stoplights and everything.
So everything
So
was new.
everything was new. And at the beginning, even riding the bike was like the most tense experience. Like, I don't know how to handle anything because I don't remember when was the last time I rode a bicycle. And especially it's like with between bikers and cyclists from all over the place coming around. It was super intense. And I'm not gonna lie and say, oh, it was gorgeous. I love, not from the
Yeah,
beginning, even towards the end, there
definitely.
was so much anxiety. I had too many anxiety attacks. There were times when I would stand by the window while it's raining and I'm freezing cold, and I'm like, why did I do this to myself?
Exactly. You got to re-question things. This is normal. Everyone
Yeah,
goes
it's
through this.
like the evil voices in my head talking. And they were like, why did you do this to yourself? You have a house in Jordan, you have a car, you had everything, you have a dog, you have your sisters, you have your friends, you have your name. And no one knew me there. And no one understood even what I do at work as
Correct.
FMB. When I say I do FMB marketing, it's a whole different experience. Even the payment mode, like, I was using cash because at the beginning I didn't get a bank account, but apparently no one uses cash there.
Okay.
So
It's
even to take
another
a bus, I
challenge.
had to
Yeah.
go to different shops to try to break down the money so I can
Wow.
pay with coins for the bus. And I literally have to run around different shops and people or something, ask them like, do you have change? And of course, run after the bus and hope I don't miss it. So yeah, and there were times when my umbrella broke with the bus door, and sometimes when it slipped, sometimes when it was raining in summer and my slippers went off my shoes, my feet, and I just had to run after it on the street. I mean, it's just
Wow.
incredible
And
things.
when did you literally feel that, you know what, I'm comfortable now. This I'm over the hump. I'm ready to, move on. It's not a huge challenge anymore. How much time did it take you to get along with China?
Yeah, approximately 6 months, and that was the realization when I had it, when I was walking down the street and I met a Chinese lady by coincidence whom I know. Like that's when I was like, hey, I know someone walking on the street in 10
From the
million
one
city.
from the 1.7 billion people, yeah, you know someone.
The city is 10 million people. Let's
Okay,
just focus on
okay,
Hangzhou. I'm not gonna focus on everywhere else because it's a huge country.
okay.
But to run into someone I know in Hangzhou in a city of 10 million people and be like, hey, how are you? And ni hao, like how do you bujian? How are you doing? Like everything. It was like, now I'm starting to feel like I'm settling in. And of course, it took me a while until I got actually the accent. There's
Okay.
a big problem with the dialect because I learned Mandarin. Imagine like you're learning Fusha. You're a
Okay.
foreigner who's learning Arabic Fusha, and then suddenly you're moving to Lebanon and no one speaks
Yeah,
Fusha there.
exactly.
But they speak Arabic, but it's
Yeah.
not Fusha. And you only know how to.
Somehow similar here in Turkey. We learn the
Yeah.
languages and then we go to the street and pretty much we don't understand anything.
Yes, but you can write a message and you can tell them on the phone,
Yeah,
like, listen, I want to
yeah.
go.
if they're patient enough.
And they're very nice. They're
Okay.
very nice. Yeah, Hangzhou people. I'm not going to talk about other cities because Shanghai, Beijing, big cities are different. The Hangzhou people, because it's kind of a smaller city, 10 million
Okay.
people,
Yeah.
15,000 kilometers. It's a smaller city than other places like Hangzhou, Shenzhen, Guangzhou, and stuff like that. Sorry, Shanghai and stuff. The people there are super welcoming to foreigners, and I think this is what made me fall in love with the city. It's the people.
Nice.
They have such a great, what you were talking about earlier in the introduction about this balance in life, like they
Yeah.
have this balance, they have it there. You could feel the positive energy in the city.
But
You could
they're
see
hard
everyone.
workers still. They're still hard
They're
workers.
hardworking. They're hardworking, especially the younger generation. They're even hard worker more, especially the ones like who work in Alibaba and the tech companies. They're overdoing it. They're overburning themselves a little bit,
Okay.
but it's becoming an issue for them because it's not part of their culture. Even
Okay.
their families are concerned about them. But if you look at the little bit older generation, you could wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning and see old men doing Tai Chi beside the river or beside the lake or
Nice.
singing or dancing. In the afternoon, you go walk beside the lake and everyone is like in big groups dancing. This group is dancing tango and this group is dancing shuffle Chinese dance and this group is doing traditional Chinese shows and stuff randomly. It's not for
Okay.
money. They're not collecting money. Nothing's for
They're
money.
just enjoying their time when they're not
And
working.
you can join.
Oh,
And
nice.
the moment you see a foreigner, they pull you in, yalla, it's like,
Nice.
come dance with us. Yeah, they have this aspect of life. And this is something that even makes people from bigger cities like Shanghai come to Hangzhou, which is kind of like a 1 hour by train. So it's like kind of like the getaway. Come to Hangzhou for relaxation, for staycations over a long weekend, for holidays, for vacations, stuff like that.
Nice.
So I definitely landed in the proper city for me. And this is kind of the thing that made me calm down a little bit. Like whenever I'm getting this anxiety attack, I would walk around the lake or by
Okay.
the river or in nature. I'd be like, why am I thinking this way? I'm in the right place. Look at this. This is gorgeous. This is beautiful. Okay, it's hard, but nothing in life is easy. So
Definitely. Definitely. It's not
let me do
about
it.
having an easy life. It's about coping with the hardships. This is what we're trying to tell people. It's not like you're gonna have this pathway and just going to school, going to university, graduating, landing your dream job, and then making a lot of money, blah blah blah, and having a happy family and end of story. It doesn't happen like that.
No, it doesn't happen like that. Doesn't happen. No, it's not always like this. And like I didn't even make proper money at the beginning. Like literally, I was very tight on money. I was doing odd jobs. I was doing consulting projects here and there. I was working on different. Imagine I had to actually take a modeling job for
Yeah.
$60. So I dress up like a doctor, so they can take a picture of Chinese doctors, actual doctors, the staff from a
Okay.
hospital, and they wanted a few foreigners to show in the thing so that they can tell, hey, we have foreigners working here because for them that's
Oh,
like the
okay.
fancy stuff.
Um, okay. See, even
Yes.
even even Chinese appreciate people coming outside their country and being part of.
Actually, they appreciate it more when they see that you're trying to do proper work. And this is kind of why I got a lot of attraction there because when I started my company,
Okay.
um, a lot of people would be like, oh, you're Arab, you're a foreigner, and you're a lady alone coming here and you started your own business. Wow, this is amazing. Okay, you know what? I want to invite you to this women empowerment event to be a speaker. I need to invite you to this government
Oh,
event to be a
nice.
panelist. Like I was getting a lot of exposure, whether it's on TV, whether it's on newspapers, magazines,
And I think that
social
helps. I
media.
think that helps with the whole, relaxation. When you're like just tired and wondering and asking, what am I doing? What's happening? And then the
Yeah,
answer comes from someone else. Oh, you're
yeah,
here doing that,
exactly.
and he gives this a lot,
They give
this
you a
big
push.
value of what you're doing that you haven't seen. And then someone would
Exactly.
say, okay, can you please share this with us? And say, okay, apparently I am doing something important or something big, or
Yes,
I am doing something right, but I needed someone to write
exactly.
it
It's
out
like
for me.
the motivational words, like with people, oh my God, you're here and you're doing this. I'm like, for me,
Okay.
it's like, uh, and then they come to me and like, you're a very successful entrepreneur. I'm like, I'm broke, by the way.
but
I
but
need
that's
to pay
part
my rent and
but
mortgage, but I
that's
know I
part
can do this.
but that's part of being an entrepreneur. A lot of
Yeah,
entrepreneurs
of
don't
course.
mention it, but eventually later on we knew
No
that
one mentions, no one
Airbnb and
mentions challenges.
everyone had been through going broke, and it was tough times, and they had to sell their laptops, blah blah blah. We hear it later, but at this point people are just shining their image in certain ways. So,
No, definitely. And I did not actually, this is one thing that I didn't do. I didn't fake anything.
okay.
I was honest with everyone, this is me, this is what I'm doing. I was myself. I discovered, so the big thing I think that happened, this voice that told me,
Yeah.
go to China, there's something big waiting for you there. I think the big thing is me, finding how powerful I am, finding how strong I am,
Okay.
physically, mentally, psychologically, everything.
So
I
out of your
battled
comfort
through
zone,
them.
you have to go out of your comfort zone to realize
Oh,
who
yes,
what your real potential is.
yes,
And this is a
100%,
message to everyone out there who's saying, you know what, this is nice. I don't want to take a risk.
100%.
I don't want to go out of my comfort zone. You need to, if you want to reach higher places, higher targets, or just
There's magic.
a more satisfactory situation.
There's magic behind the comfort zone. There's so much magic. And again, I didn't go there and become rich or whatever, like in terms of financials. I
Yeah.
was gonna be like, the thing is, like, COVID ruined so many
Yeah.
things for everyone, including me. um, the approach is like something was being built up as my
Okay.
company. I started having team members. I got a partner on board. We became like a small family, and things were happening. And then COVID came, and
Yeah. Pretty much.
everything was cut because we're still a startup at the time. But
You build
I
experience
would
and
say
tolerance.
I would say the experience I got from there made me a billionaire, not even a
Yeah.
millionaire. Like
And the
whether it,
tolerance,
mm,
now while you're working, let's say in a country where they speak your language, where everyone, it's pretty much easier for you to have, yeah, exactly just that, and then you're on a roll. Exactly.
and the best part is when I tell people I used to live in China, like, oh, tell us the story.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a business meeting and it becomes like a conversation between me and them, telling them, hey, yeah, I lived in China and I did this and I did that and blah, 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 blah.
You've got a
And I did a
profile
lot of
update. You've got a profile update.
Yani, the best thing is that I did a lot of things I've never thought of doing. I don't know if you've seen or if you've been following me during the period I was there. I did a TV show about my life there on a
Yes.
Dubai-based channel. Um, this was the first time I was in front of a camera.
Okay.
For me, it was totally different. Um,
But
I
you seem comfortable now, so this explains it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
another.
Uh, it was the first time, for example, I start a company there and somewhere weird. I don't speak the language. There was so many things. I did the Spartan race for the first time there.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, like even this physical challenge
Yeah.
at the Spartan race at the first time, I was like, and at the time I wasn't even working out properly. And I went there with no strength, nothing. I was not ready. But when I went, I was like, you know what? If I can do the Spartan race, I can do anything else.
Yeah.
If I can go to China, I can do anything else.
Exactly.
So this is becoming the reinforcement in my
The
brain.
mindset. Would you advise anyone to do it? Would you do it again?
Oh yeah, well, coming to Dubai was the same experience, kind of. I just packed my bags and moved here.
Okay, well, Dubai is much easier, I guess, than China.
Oh no, it's more draining.
Yeah, definitely. Everything has a price. Everything has
It's
a
more
price.
draining. Definitely, I would recommend, not necessarily China. Everyone has their Everest. For
Okay.
me, some people want to climb Mount Everest. Some people want to jump off a plane. Some people want to go dive in the deepest pool in the world. Some people like these challenges. There are different kinds of challenges. Some people want to go to Antarctica.
Yeah.
Some people want to live in Africa. For me, China was my Everest. It was that experience of climbing up something.
Okay, so everyone has to pass through this at one point, and then they get to decide whether they want to stay
Definitely.
there or go back to where they were or somewhere in between. But I mean, if you go back in time and you say, you know what, would it have been better for you to just stay in Jordan at your company and not go through this experience?
No,
Yeah, a big no.
no.
Yeah, definitely.
China is the best experience in my life. And if it were for me, I wouldn't have left in February 2020. I only left because of
Because of
COVID.
COVID.
I went for a
Yeah.
few weeks and I got stuck outside. And when I got my stuff shipped to Dubai, after I moved to Dubai, I received them in January. I got them to the car and I started crying for 30 minutes in the car. I was just
Because
parked and
China
just
is
crying.
out. Yeah, China's
When
out.
I noticed that my stuff are here
Yeah.
and maybe this chapter ended, but I didn't want it to end, at least not this way, maybe in a big bang, like I
Yeah.
usually do, but not this way. Yeah, and it still hurts that I didn't get a chance to say goodbye.
I understand. So what's next? What are you doing now? What's the next challenge? You've been in Dubai, I think, for a year. How's that
Yeah.
going? What's happening with you, work-wise?
Well, Dubai was also another packing and moving thing, but it was a little bit more kind of like, at the beginning I had a job, but I quit it after 40 days because I couldn't
Okay.
agree with the company. And then I decided to start on my own again, which was also challenging and hard, not from the part of the culture and the language, of course, because you speak the same languages, but because I already did it before. And
You
I
have to
was
start
feeling
all over
like,
again.
why am I doing it again? I just want to go back to China, like I have my life there. I have my fans. Everyone
Yeah.
knows me,
Nice.
Hey, so here it was a little bit hard at the beginning to convince myself, like, hey, listen, but I'm convinced 100% now that I am at the right place at the right time. It's a very safe place to be. It's a booming economy, and business-wise, it's a good place. I would definitely say I'm open for anywhere where there's a new challenge, even if it's going
Nice.
to Mars.
Nice. All right, Thuraya, thank you very much. We have another 13 minutes left. We're gonna allow people to unmute themselves, and if someone has a question, please share it with us. Again, I need to make something clear here. We are not imposing any right formula so everyone can take. We're just saying everyone can have his own formula of happiness, the balance between work and life. However, you need to get to your Everest. I like this. You need to get to your Everest at one point, realize that this is where I can be. This is almost my highest level of tolerance. And this is where whenever I get a challenge, I can get back to this and remember, man, I lived in China. I lived in a place where that's so far away. People speak a different language and I made it. So Dubai shouldn't be a big thing for me.
Exactly.
Wherever I decide to be, I can
And you want to laugh when doing my CrossFit workouts. Sometimes we have like handstand push-ups or handstands or something, like a movement that is like a little bit more complicated for someone like me because I'm not a pro. But one day I was trying to do handstands and I was stuck. I wasn't able to flip my body to the wall. And literally I stood and I did this self-talk, like when you talk in the mirror, but there was no mirror. I was like, Thuraya, if you can go to China and make it there, you can freaking do it for handstand.
Exactly, because it all starts with the right. Okay, you see, it worked.
And it happened,
Yeah,
this is
the mindset. The mindset.
Yeah.
We have a question. Someone's asking, how much does it cost to live in China? Rent and like average monthly expense?
It depends which city and which area, but definitely it's not as expensive as anywhere in the Middle East, to be honest with you. In Hangzhou in specific, I'm going to talk about my experience in Hangzhou. To buy a house is very expensive. Okay. Now, especially in the past couple of years, to buy a house is as expensive as London apartments, London real estate, because the city is super beautiful and super advanced and with a lot of attraction. To rent a house, to live there, yani, if you can make $2,000, wow, it's amazing.
Oh, you can live with $2,000 to pay rent and to have your
very nice life, and you'll be traveling for vacations and stuff.
Nice. You can even, so you can save with $2,000.
يعني
Almost.
2000 يعني we're talking about almost, to be more specific, I'm gonna do the currency calculator to be very specific. $2,000 حبيبي. So it's basically, we're talking about 12,750 kwai, a Chinese kwai or RMB. Yes, for example, my house was for 5,000 kwai, and that would leave you with 7,000.
Okay.
You don't need more than 3,000 for food and drinks and basic stuff, and you're left with like what, 4,000 or 5,000.
Nice.
And I'm talking about 3,000 with like eating out. You're not even cooking, like you're buying food, because food there is very cheap.
Okay, that's good to know. So you're in the food business, right? This is what you've done in China, and this is what you're doing now in Dubai. Can you tell us more about this?
Yep, I do food and beverage consulting. My role in specific is the marketing part and concept creation part. So anything that has to do with outside the kitchen. In China, I have a partner who's a chef with 20 years work experience. He's an Italian chef. Unfortunately, we're all stuck. He's stuck in Italy. I'm stuck here. We cannot go back. It's very complicated to go back now. But we're working on reviving the business there. And he usually handles everything within the kitchen in terms of kitchen layout, design, menu engineering, costing, suppliers, recruitment, training, all of these aspects. So we help restaurants.
You take it there with the marketing, the design, the branding, the
everything marketing related. I take care of it.
Okay, that's good.
And this is what I do right now here.
And I think, yeah, Dubai is a very good place to invest in that. I mean, it's crowded with restaurants, but I mean, pretty much every other once in a while.
It's crowded with restaurants, but there's always potential, because to be honest with you, I'm not really impressed with a lot of things I'm seeing here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Not really. Not like, I mean, okay, there are nice places, but there are nice places where I'd be like, we can do better.
Nice. You know? So there's potential.
Yeah, definitely. And plus, my target is to enter Saudi market. So within the next 12 months, within the next 6 to 12 months, we're working on Saudi. We're starting to, we're preparing an investor deck. We're starting to check if we can get investors in Riyadh. We're setting up company there. So we're working on that aspect as well.
Beautiful. Maybe one time you start in Turkey as well, but you need to learn the language first.
I can hire someone who speaks Turkish to work with me.
I'm working.
I don't have a problem.
I'm still working on that. I'm still working.
If I can speak Chinese, I can speak Turkish.
Definitely. While actually I'm learning Turkish, and I'm thinking, at least I know the letters. You know, they're like English, but you know, just a couple of differences. How could she learn Chinese and actually write the whole letters? So if someone can learn Chinese, then everyone can learn Turkish, pretty much.
Actually, to be honest with you, Chinese it's very hard, yes, but because it's how can I say, there's a science behind each character and how it's written. There's methodology, and it's based on hieroglyphic, you know, like how the Farani used to have their fonts and stuff, and it's all about visuals. So like the sun would look something like the sun, or the mouth would look like something like a mouth. So if you see the square, you know, it has something to do with a mouth. So it's either it's speaking, eating, listening, or entrance of a building, like Tim al-Mabna.
Wow.
So yeah, it's like
interesting.
There's a reasoning behind each character and why it's designed in a specific way.
It's good to know. It's interesting. Someone's asking, are you currently doing your dream job in Dubai? Do you consider it to be your dream job?
One of them.
Nice.
My other dream is to do another TV show in the Middle East, specifically in UAE and Saudi, and hopefully in Lebanon when things are better, similar to what I did in China, and to showcase the beauty of the culture, the beauty of the richness of the history and culture and everything, instead of just showing skyscrapers, because this is not what exactly the country is all about.
Nice. Okay, that's pretty interesting. We'll look forward for that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Thuraya.
I think Bahira had her hand up. Hi, Bahira. Before.
I think they can unmute themselves.
Well, Thuraya is a very good friend of mine. I'm fond of everything she's saying, and congratulations, Thuraya, on everything you're doing. That's it. I'm just, No more questions. And I had my
Habibti.
actually I clapped for you. That's it. That's what I've done. So
Okay.
and thank you for this show. Thank you.
Thank you
for
for
you.
joining.
You're a
Thank you. It's a
superhero.
pleasure for us to showcase such experiences, because as I was talking to my team here at Inspeed Global, I was saying, you know what, there are a lot of rich experiences out there that will only be shared with that person's friends in a coffee shop, on even on social media. Like, with a lot of things happening, pretty much the feed is full with
Cluttered.
everybody's experiences. So a lot of good experiences might not be given the right spotlight. So this is part of why I want to do this show, so people would know about huge success stories like Thuraya's story. This is how people can reflect on their own lives and then question themselves: where's my Everest? What does it take to go to that Everest? And what's my tolerance level? And then
I
they
have
can
to
remember.
copyright that one. I have to do a
Yeah,
copyright on
it's
that.
interesting. I like it. It's interesting. It's interesting. So I guess if there are no more questions, we're going to be closing, so we can stick to the 45 for life timing. Thank you again, Thuraya. I hope
you,
we
everyone.
hear your good news soon from Dubai, Saudi Arabia, or wherever, or China.
Thank you.
And definitely, if we want to go to China, we have someone to consult before going there.
Or to Jordan, or to Saudi, or to Dubai, or to
I was ready to provide help. That's good. That's good.
Bint Battuta for a reason.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. All right, everyone, thank you. This has been an interesting first episode of 45 for Life. We hope we've added a different quality to your day, something unroutinish, something that will make you question what you're doing, something that will, I think we have a question, go ahead. Is this clapping or questioning? Okay, I'll
I
take
think
it.
in the conversation, there's someone asking about the barriers of opening a business for foreigners.
Oh, this is the last question. I'm sorry, I just saw it. Okay. The barriers of opening a business for a foreigner in China.
Super easy. In Hangzhou, it was super easy. I'm not sure. I've been away for a year and a half. So let me talk about my experience. It was super easy. Now, of course, it's in Chinese. I don't speak the language properly. I cannot read documents or the contracts and stuff. So I had to go with an incubator called NIHub. It was a very popular incubator. They're supported by the government. Started by a Swiss guy who has been living there for 13 years and speaks fluent Chinese.
Okay.
So this is how far they supported this guy to support foreigners, other foreigners.
Okay.
And not only is the trade license issued for free, you just pay for the service for these people. It's also, the residency is not expensive. And if you have an AI, biotechnology, AR project, anything tech, high tech, smart tech, and you propose it to the government, you might get funding up to $1 million.
Nice.
And if you're hiring top level talents, like someone with a Nobel Prize, Pulitzer Prize, Oscar, blah, blah, Michelin star, anything like that, they're willing to cover their salary for a whole year.
Nice. It's interesting. It's good to know.
So some small businesses got $10,000, some 5, some 2, some 20, some 100. It depends on their approach and it's an app, it's a robot, it's a plane, it's a drone, it's something, whatever they do. It has to be
technology. Yeah, it's pretty much everywhere, but some countries are just
Hangzhou, Silicon Valley of the East. Yeah, Hangzhou, Silicon Valley of the East. Let's put it this way.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. All right. Thanks again. Thank you, everyone who's been watching. We'll be talking about our next episode in 2 weeks, hopefully. Thanks again, Thuraya, for your time.
Thank you.
I wish you the best. Thanks for those who joined. Thanks for the team at Inspeed Global. Thank you for Inspeed Global CEO for believing in us, believing in the show. And we'll see you again in 2 weeks. Goodbye for now.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.